All right, everybody, and we are back with another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It is your host, Rob, aka B-Ball Archives, and I am with my boy, AJ. Oh,
Hi,
yeah.
hi, friends.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of really great topics. We're going to be talking early award predictions. I know it's so early on in the season, it almost feels a little wrong to talk about award predictions and all this other stuff, but there's really no other way to determine who else is really cementing themselves early on as the best players in each area. So I think, while there's a lot of things that can change early on, it's exciting to chat about this.
It's always fun to talk about awards and early predictions and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially 5-6 games into the league.
Oh,
hell
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm for it. I'm for it.
Yeah, let's speculate wildly. Yeah, and then we're going to be diving into another segment. We're going to be talking about top 3 playmakers. And, I think a lot of people, they would just point to assists and say, oh, yeah, whoever is getting the most assists is obviously the best playmaker. But I think there's an important distinction, and I think we're going to dive into some of that as well. So,
Absolutely.
oh, yeah. Yeah, let's just go ahead and start it off. AJ, I know at an earlier episode you were thinking Luka Doncic was going to be the 2023 MVP. Are you still feeling that way?
Yes and no. As of right now, I think Giannis is definitely the best player in the world right now. Like, I don't think it's even close. Like, he is so good, and he's just proven it more and more. I guess one thing that we always forget, at the beginning of the season, everyone's fairly healthy for the most part. I would say more times than not. And over the course of the season, the body just breaks down over time. So you see a little bit of a slowdown in some players, but fresh Giannis looks just absolutely unstoppable. But that's not to say that Luka's going to go on a run where he drops, 10, 40-point games in a row or something like that. I still think Luka is the most valuable player. I mean, you take him off the Mavs are god awful.
Yeah.
Whereas with Giannis, I don't think the Bucks are god awful like the Mavs. I don't think they take that big of a drop, but obviously they do take a pretty significant drop.
Yeah.
They still got Chris Middleton if Giannis isn't there. So
Yeah.
but as of right now, in terms of what I've seen in the first few games of the season, I think Giannis definitely has my MVP vote. So I'm gonna switch a little bit. But I'm still fairly confident in my Luka pick at the beginning of the season, though.
Yeah.
Or over the summer.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that. There's a lot to like, especially when the Bucks haven't lost a game yet.
Yeah.
They're the only undefeated team, so they're playing really great basketball, and Giannis is obviously a large reason why that's happening. So, to have Luka as your early MVP pick, that makes all the sense in the world. To have Giannis as your MVP pick, but I'm still thinking Luka.
Yeah.
His numbers are ridiculous.
Oh, they're solid.
I think the only thing that would keep Luka from winning it is where the Mavs finish. So
Agreed.
Can they stay healthy? Is Christian Wood going to keep up his play to where he can be a 20-plus game a night kind of guy?
Mm-hmm.
And if all of those things are, end up ironing out and end up being true, then I think that we could see Luka playing the best season we've ever seen, 35 a game, 10 assists, 10 rebounds, and see like a huge triple-double season. So if that happens, then
Yeah.
I mean, I think they would only need to finish 4th or 5th.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If they finish anywhere in the top 5 of the West, Luka should get the MVP.
Right.
For sure. Especially losing a player like Brunson. Like we're seeing what he's doing with the Knicks right now.
Yeah.
Not to say that he wasn't doing that. I mean, he couldn't do that with the Mavs. It's just now that he doesn't have to lean on anyone, you see him kind of like make that next development phase of his career. And then with Christian Wood, like, they're still early on. I think they're still trying to fill each other out. So once they figure out their connection and everyone kind of follows suit, I think we're going to see a much more dynamic Maverick team for sure.
Yeah.
So, but, gun to head right now. As of right now, I mean, like, Giannis just looks so good.
Yeah.
Like,
Giannis does look good. Tatum looks really good, and so does Ja.
Looks really
Ja
good.
looks amazing. So, there's some guys that are in that top 5 conversation where it's like, dang, anybody that steps up in December,
Yep.
January, they could end up taking that award just based on how they perform at a good chunk of the season.
For
So,
sure. And any of these guys can, and go on a streak, or they can get on a cold streak, or God forbid something happens to them health wise. But it's just there's a lot of factors that go in. But as of right now, it's been a lot of fun to watch the new basketball season because there's so many like it. This is my favorite part of the year, besides like obviously the playoff runs and stuff. But it's because we're trying to figure out where these teams are, where the players land, and how they interact, and it's just fun to see like you see spurts every once in a while, and you're like, oh, ooh, that was cool. Or like with the Spurs right now, it's like, are we a playoff contender? Like, what's happening here?
yeah.
So it's just fun to see, and obviously everything regresses to the medium at some point. So
Yeah.
I would say, once things start to settle down a little bit more, and there's more film out there on these new teams, I think it changes dramatically. But until then, I'm gonna enjoy it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. At the end of the day, like it's so early for all these awards, but we're just having fun. We're talking about it. We're starting the conversation. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Okay. So that sounds good for MVP. I think we covered a lot of our bases right there. Let's go ahead and move it on to another award that I think you were saying it earlier. There's really not a clear front runner
Yeah.
for the defensive player of the year so far. There's no one that's like, oh my gosh, your defense is crazy. But
Right.
one of the guys to me that is standing out so far is Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
He's
Oh
the-
yeah, we just saw him.
Yeah.
Just saw him now.
We just saw him face guarding Jason Tatum, and it looked pretty natural to him.
Yeah.
And to be guarding somebody that's a couple of positions further away from yours out on the perimeter, it's that's really encouraging. And he's the only player that has at least one block and one steal of every game this entire year.
Yeah. He's quick.
Yeah,
He's very quick.
he's very quick. He looks. I don't know if he has the same attitude, but he reminds me defensively of KG in some ways, where he's got the length, he's got the quickness, he can guard a wide variety of positions. I don't know if he's got the offensive aggressiveness that KG has, but man, his defense looks really promising.
That clip that we saw with him guarding Tatum, at first it was a great sequence. At first, he had him going to baseline, so he's kind of trapping him in that corner on the side of the 3-point line, and then it was like, all right, if I do let you go around me, you're going in the middle, and you're going to get met either with hands coming swiping in or Jared Allen on the other side playing help defense. And in that sequence, Jared Allen collapsed. Tatum had to pass it out, and it got stolen by LeVert. So,
Yeah.
I mean, just and that's Evan Mobley. Like, that's him defending. That's
Yeah.
everyone knowing the role as well, but that's also him knowing the situation and understanding where my help is. So if we're going to push someone, we're going to push them towards literally everyone on my team.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very high defensive IQ for sure.
Absolutely. Playing good individual defense as well as good team defense.
Yep, absolutely.
That's where it's at. Absolutely. So when you're thinking of defensive player of the year, who are you excited about?
Giannis. I just, he, like I said, this is the first few games of the season. He's everywhere. Like he's in the top 15 in blocks, top 15 in steals. Like he's grabbing boards. I mean, he's doing a little bit of everything still, and also scoring 30 plus points a game. So, for me, it's Giannis, because he can also do guard on the perimeter. He can help you down low, block shots, get steals, be a disruptor on passing lanes because he's so long and so lengthy. I picked Kawhi Leonard to win before the season started. I still like my pick there too. I think just Kawhi just needs to get his legs under him, get up to speed with the pace of the play right now. And once he does that, I still think he'll probably be a top candidate for defensive MVP. But as of right now, he's just not getting a lot of minutes. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you need to play enough.
yeah, you got to play it in order to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And also, people obviously know about Kawhi, and they're going to run plays in order to help that player get around Kawhi or whatever the case may be. Whereas Evan Mobley, I still think he's he's a super young guy, so it's you're not game planning really for him. He's there,
Yeah.
but you're not like changing up your stuff with his defense, which I think is going to change probably like midway through the season.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if he continues to play team defense like he is, then I see no reason to have other teams just really, really wanting to alter the way they attack the rim when they see Mobley and Jared Allen down low. It's like whoa, we might have to have some mid range stuff in play to deal with those guys.
Yeah. Speaking of defense too, because the Spurs have played Minnesota like 1,000 times in the first 5 games, watching teams play against Minnesota is very interesting because even though you may have a clean look at the basket for a layup or a dunk, just the thought of Rudy Gobert or Cat at the rim is causing shooters and people to like merely scratching. Basically, it's causing shooters and people trying to lay up the ball or dunking to like second guess, especially when they see Gobert like make that first step towards them. I mean, they're changing their shots. It's happened several times with the Spurs where Trey Jones comes off a pick and roll and it looks like he has a wide open layup, and then he sees Rudy Gobert like just make that first step, and it is and he's completely second guessing himself.
Yeah, that's
which is very impressive from a defensive standpoint.
yeah. No, I mean, I'm right there with you. They have the paint clogged to a large degree. I think that Minnesota still has a couple of defensive things to figure out in terms of how they're switching, because on the perimeter we were able to expose them whenever Cat didn't have the quickness to kind of honestly stay with Jeremy Sohan. It feels kind of weird to say that, but he really had trouble staying with Sohan, and so when I was seeing that, I was like, wow, they have interior on lock, but on the perimeter they have some stuff to work out. So yeah, there's all kinds of different defensive schemes and defensive things that are going to unfold.
Just because you're not blocking shots doesn't mean you're not changing the game. Like
Absolutely.
Just Rudy Gobert, like I said, that first step, like I know that feeling. Being a guard and get into the paint, you're like, oh hell yeah, and then like you see someone coming, you're like, oh, what do I do now? Do I go up and under? Do I just lay it up strong? Do I do a floater? Do I kick it out? You start going through those thoughts in half a second of play. And if you don't make the right decision, like your shots are altered completely. So
yeah,
it's impressive. It's very impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah, just a couple of other honorable mentions. I want to give a shout out to Bam Adebayo, who's in the running as well, and also a young up and coming player, Herb Jones, obviously from New Orleans, who I think is an important piece to that Pelicans team. He could develop into, I don't want to give him this much praise, but a Kawhi-esque defender. I mean, I'm still high on him. Last episode I was talking about whenever he blocked KD, and it's like I'm still high on it. So I think that he could be a really, really good defensive piece, but he needs to be a little bit more sound, gamble a little bit less, and then I think he'll be good.
Yep.
But yeah, let's moving right along. Most improved player. So when we're talking about most improved player, which direction are you going?
Well, as a homer, I'm going Devin Vassell.
Okay.
Because I think from last year to this year, he's shooting with confidence. He's driving with confidence. He doesn't have anyone to defer to. It's literally him and Keldon. And if Keldon's not on the court, he's getting that green light every single day.
Yeah.
And he is he's just playing with a lot of confidence, and I love to see that. And if he keeps it up, like I think he's averaging like something like 22 points a game, something along those lines.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah, something like
above 20.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But as a whole, most improved has to be Shy.
Okay.
Like Shy is averaging 31 points on 49% field goal percentage, 36 from 3, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and a 31 efficiency rating. So
yeah,
you can't fault that.
No, he's definitely stepped up his play quite a bit. And it's hard to ignore that.
Yeah, especially on a team like the Thunder where there's really no one else. So he kind of like has to improve in order for them just to avoid the tanking narrative.
Yeah. And it's a team where you thought you were going to have Chet. You
Yeah.
thought you were going to have a really interesting draft piece to kind of build on and grow on, and then Shy just ends up having the same amount of responsibility within the offense, but he's a year more advanced, and now he can kind of, I guess, manipulate the offense more in his favors. So I think it makes sense to see this, and
He looks great.
and he's super talented and one of the most underrated guards in the league.
Absolutely.
So I think,
Yeah, just being in a small market, you don't get that exposure. So
yeah, I think it's a good call.
who do you got?
I went out on a limb and picked a guy that we're not too familiar with, Keldon Johnson.
Keldon.
Keldon Johansson.
The dude. Oh, he's the guy from the G League, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing him blossom into the core player that is the best player on a team, and I think that we're actually not seeing the full extent of his game yet.
No.
I think we're gonna see as the year goes on, he's gonna get more and more comfortable in his role as that key player. I could see him putting up 23, maybe 24 points a game this season, and so that improvement from last season to this season could be enough for it to put him in that conversation. So I just wanted to give Keldon Johnson a shout out, and his usage rate and everything else is gonna lead to that opportunity. And so,
do you think he gets to 40 points this year?
you think he has one 40-point game? Yeah. Yeah, I think Keldon Johnson is going to have a 40-point game. He's got a really expansive arsenal. He takes it to the basket really well. He can shoot from three. He's good from the line, and he's a guy that
He's also a mid-range shooter too.
exactly, and he doesn't put himself in foul trouble too often. So he plays late into games.
Yeah.
So I think Keldon Johnson's definitely dropping a 40 piece.
Yeah, my only thing is because he's our best player, he's gonna be guarded by the best defender.
Yeah,
So, and more times than not, it's gonna be, a long, small forward guard that might be able to clamp him down a little bit. So that's why I'm curious to see if he's able to really take that huge leap, because it's a big leap. Being, I don't even know if he was a second guy on our team last year. Like, just taking that big leap to that now leadership role, that number one role. The offense basically runs through you.
yeah.
Like, Trey Jones may bring with the ball, but you're touching it at some point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, offensively last year he was.
Yeah.
He was our second best player.
Yeah.
I mean, I think value-wise, maybe Pirtle was more valuable because of the rim protection he brought, but at the same time, Keldon was our second best player.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think he's going to blossom into that next level pretty nicely.
My favorite thing about Keldon Johnson is every day he listens to that Mariah Carey song, "We Belong Together," and it just cracks me up. And the fact that she was like, "Keldon Johnson is my favorite basketball player," and he was like, "Whoa, we belong together."
Oh my goodness. I did not think Mariah Carey would be mentioned on this podcast, but somehow her name was dropped. I love it. I love it. You never know what we're going to be talking about
Never
here.
know. By the
Absolutely.
way, shout out to Mariah Carey. She's a great singer. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Legend.
Oh, part of the Nick Cannon family.
Bruh. Okay, moving on. I'm going to... Okay, Rookie of the Year.
Sorry.
No, you're good, brother. You're good, brother. It's all good humor. I love it. Rookie of the Year, though. This is one where I think we're all thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Paulo is
Paulo
playing
is-
so well.
Dude, he's so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
He is so much fun to watch. And this is what I was hoping this is the Paulo that we would see. I was really hoping that we would see this kind of Paulo, and I'm glad that we are.
Yeah.
Whenever Tech played them in the tournament, like, he was a man amongst boys. Like, I thought we had a very big team as Texas Tech. Paulo was like, he was just made him look like little dwarves. Like, it was insane. And I'm glad that he's bringing that to the NBA, and his efficiency is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. He's very efficient. The only thing that's his downside is he's with the Magic. So
Yeah. but that could be a part of his upside
Oh,
because
for
he's going
sure.
to have such a high usage rate. He's going to be able to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes in a stress-free organization that
Yeah.
doesn't really have the responsibility of just having to win right away.
Right.
So like I think, he can have a bunch of turnovers and he can kind of learn from those mistakes. So I think this is a really great opportunity for him, and we're going to see some of the best rookie numbers
Oh yeah.
in a while.
I think he averages more than 25 for sure.
Yeah, like I mean, I
25, 25, 8 and 7 maybe, something like that.
yeah, I mean, like
8 and 6.
Luca had an amazing rookie year when you look at like 20 points, 8 bounds, 6 assists.
Yeah.
But like, I think Paulo is going
Paulo.
to outdo that because his defense is also better than everyone thought it would be.
Yeah.
His rim protection, he's getting physical with people getting to the basket. Jeez, Paulo he's a menace out there.
Oh, he's a man. Like
Yeah.
For someone as young as him, and you see guys come in the league and they're able to put on muscle with just working out and stuff. But for him to step in on the court his first game, and what did he drop, like 30 points or something like that, or 28?
It was like 27, 9, and 5
Like,
with like a
that's-
couple of blocks. And it
That's
was like,
insane.
what?
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like yeah, you're the number one pick, but those are staggering numbers. Like holy shit. Like so, I love Paulo. I'm a big fan of Paulo, but honorable mention I would say Jordan Ivey.
Yeah, Jaden Ivey.
Jaden Ivey. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good.
Jaden Ivey. He looks great too. He looks really good.
Dude.
So does Murray. Murray looks really good too.
Yeah.
So
Keegan Murray looks really good. There's a lot of really good players. One of the guys I am really excited about is Ben Matherin, from Indiana
Yeah.
Pacers. He's putting up like 20 points a game right now. He's putting up 5 rebounds, a couple of assists on really good efficiency, and there's really no one in Indiana outside of Tyrese Halliburton who is demanding the ball and is going to take a lot of shots.
Yeah.
So I think he could easily be the Robin on that team and drop 20 points a game, put up a few other good counting stats, and sneakily be the second best rookie in this entire draft. So
yeah, and then anything can happen, between now and the end of the season. So
yeah.
one person we forgot to mention in most improved, Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, Cade.
I know we're on rookies right now, but the fact that he's in his second year and what was it last night? He put up, was it 27 in the first half?
That's nuts.
I mean, like he's seeing these young players be this successful early on is like really entertaining to watch because it feels like we're coming into that next generation of talent,
Yeah.
which makes me really excited. Because you always have like these waves where you get like a influx of really great talent, for like 2 or 3 years of the draft. Then it kind of like, drops off a little bit where you get a lot of role players and then it kind of just comes back and forth. And I think right now we're in that swell of just really great players, like top to bottom, that can do a little bit of everything. They're athletic as hell. They can jump out of the gym. They can score. They can block. They can play defense. Like the whole gamut of basketball. Even Sohan has impressed me. Like
Yeah.
didn't see that coming.
Did not see that coming.
So with his development too. So I'm really excited for the future. Rookie of the year is going to get more and more tough.
Yeah.
Here in the next few years. It's going to be interesting to see who uses that as motivation to take their game to the next level.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. And another guy I wanted to kind of just elaborate on real quick, who you brought up earlier, Keegan Murray. Man, his efficiency is ridiculous. He's shooting like 45% from 3, over 50% from the field, over 80 from the line. And when you look at him, and he's like the prototypical like new wave power forward.
Yeah.
Who's like athletic, smart, passing the ball, can
Long.
shoot from anywhere, long. And it's like, holy crap, this kid could end up being a guy that is a perennial all-star, 15-plus year guy, 20-plus, it's like, and so there's a lot of guys to like in this. So, yeah, I think, really interesting Rookie of the Year conversation, but definitely Paulo highlighting that
Yeah,
group.
for sure.
For sure.
It's going to take a lot to overcome Paulo.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Also, shout out to, I don't know if they're doing this or not, but it's definitely a thing on Twitter where because he signed with Jordan, they were like, he needs to have his own shoe, and he needs to be the Paulo was it the Rancheros? The Paulo Rancheros?
Dude, that would be kind of cool. I'm not
Be
gonna lie.
dope. Be really
Yeah.
dope. So yeah, next award.
Oh yeah, for sure. So sixth man. This one's tough.
This one's really hard for me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like I just gotta say Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
until we can see more of the season, like I just gotta go with what I know.
Yeah.
And Jordan Poole is that guy. There really hasn't, for me, there hasn't been a standout, 6-man wise, but I'm sure that will change here in the next few months. But as of right now, I mean, Jordan Poole is, in my opinion, like the best 6-man.
Yeah.
In the NBA.
I mean,
He just got his bag, so I hope so.
yeah. I mean, it's tough to sort of say he's not because of the impact that we just saw
On his face?
Emotional damage. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there was a lot of impact on his face. I wonder if his brain is still okay, but he looks like he's okay.
Yeah, he seems fine.
He looks fine.
There's
But yeah,
130 million reasons why he's okay.
yeah. Yeah, but he's definitely going to be in that conversation.
Yeah.
I think another guy that I'm looking at right now, but I don't have him as my most likely is Christian Wood. I think he's going to be really, really great, but I don't think he's going to be the 6-man. I think that they're going to find a way to get him into that starting lineup sooner rather than later because he's playing so well. It makes sense to just get him more minutes.
What's his competition? JaVale McGee and Powell? Or
yeah, and like Maxi Kleba and like Bertans, like they're not going to take his minutes. And so whenever I look at that, it's Christian Wood needs to be in that starting lineup.
I agree.
So I don't have him as my 6-man of the year. I'm going with like a completely outside left field pick, Bones Highland. I really like Bones Highland.
Is he 6?
Yeah. Yeah. He's been coming in off the bench, and the couple of Nuggets games I have watched, he has absolutely changed the flow of the offense, and he looks like a guy that complements Nikola Jokic really well in terms of the distribution. It looks like Jokic gets a rebound, he turns, he sees Bones, he can get him the ball, and it's like they're on the same page in terms of like go.
Yeah.
And whenever I was watching that, I was like, holy crap, this guy is gonna, come in off the bench, get a lot of minutes. And I think last game he dropped a 30 piece or like 26 off the bench, and I was like, oh wow, he's gonna have a really good chance if he can keep that kind of offensive energy going.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Bones Highland, I like
Because
Bones
I know it's between Bones and Gordon that come off.
Yeah,
Just depends on, I guess, the game. So
I think what they're trying to do is have Bones come off the bench just because he's still like a second year guy. They're just trying to see if they can see if he can handle those kind of minutes before they're like, here's the starting role.
Yeah, I know we're talking about 6-man, but it's great to see Jamal Murray back on the field or court.
Yeah,
and seeing him play with Jokic, and it's just really fun to. I see the Nuggets. I wouldn't say at full strength, but get into that point. So I hope they can all stay healthy. That's all. I hope they can all stay healthy, and we can see what a playoff run for the Nuggets looks like with everyone healthy.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right, because while Jokic was playing MVP level basketball the last 2 seasons, he hasn't had the healthy support. So it's now that he's in his prime, or he's in his prime, we don't even know yet. He could go to a different level.
Yeah.
While he's in his prime, and he's got a healthy team, let's see what he gets done.
I wasn't thrilled with their first round pick this year though. Christian Brown out of Kansas.
Yeah.
I thought they could done much better than that, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll see what time says about that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much most of the six man options.
Coach of the year.
Oh yeah, we can do coach of the year.
Pop.
Coach Pop. I don't know. It could be Coach Pop, depending on how we do.
Yeah, if we finish in the top like 5 or 3 or whatever, it's Pop.
I think my answer for Coach of the Year is going to be not Doc Rivers. Just pretty much anyone but Doc Rivers or Steve Nash.
What are you talking about, Rob? Yeah, Rob. I'm a great coach.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't think of another coach who's coasted off one championship as much as he has.
Yeah, and that's coming from a Spurs fan too.
Yeah.
We love Doc in San Antonio, so
We do, but I mean, dude has been coasting for years off of that '08 championship.
I don't know how if he doesn't figure out the Sixers this year, then he needs to just step away.
Right.
He's gonna get fired.
He's got an MVP level center. He's got one of the best offensive weapons in James Harden, who's, he's having a better year this year than he did last year. So, dude, there's really not a lot of excuses on why you're not figuring it out right now.
Yeah. So the Pelicans coach, Willie Green, I mean, that guy he's the next big thing in the NBA coaching wise. I mean, I think if he can get Zion to play, let's say 60, 65 games, if they can all figure out how to play together, like we were talking about in a previous episode, that Pelicans team is so good.
Yeah.
And if he's the guy that's putting it all together and he's able to figure it out, because we watching them in the playoffs last year, I mean, he was so awesome to listen to in the huddle, like so motivational, right to the point. He knew what he wanted to get out of his players, and that's with the CJ McCollum who just got there. So, like, what does an off season look like with CJ? Now that the season started, what does that look like? So, I think Willie Green, has a really good shot of getting Coach of the Year, obviously predicated on their success. So,
Yeah. Playoffs matter.
yeah,
Absolutely.
sure.
But yeah, Coach of the Year. Yeah, I'd like Willie Green. Obviously, I think Coach Bud.
Coach Bud has a chance, as always.
The fact that Bucks haven't lost a game yet. They're going to get healthy whenever Middleton does get back on the court. They're going to look even better. And to me, if they just keep winning games, I just see them as a 60-win team. So whenever you win 60 games,
you're
in that conversation.
You're probably being coached pretty well too.
Yeah, you're in that
because
conversation.
it's one thing to have Giannis as your best player. It's another thing to coach Giannis as your best player.
Yeah,
because he can go get whatever he wants whenever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to learn how to like pull the reins a little bit, distribute more, or put him in a different position that he may or not be comfortable with. And I think he does a great job of that. So
yeah,
still plenty of time to find out. But Coach Bud's also a really good pick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think Steve Kerr's going to win it, but just because I don't think that the Golden State Warriors necessarily need to worry about the regular season that much.
No.
And it's more of a regular season kind of award. So
Yeah.
I don't think Kerr's in there, but Coach Bud, I could see him getting it. But yeah, that rounds out a whole bunch of awards.
It's finally nice to have like my awards with like no Lakers on there.
Yeah.
Or like my top stuff with no Lakers on there.
What are you talking about? TikTok Live was saying Anthony Davis, defensive player of the year. I mean,
I see where they're coming from.
Okay, I do. Let me just go ahead and say this: their defense doesn't look horrible, but when it's right next to the offense, who is horrible, and they can't move the ball, it makes the defense struggle that much more. So while they're not horrible defensively, their offense isn't doing them any favors.
I know these are two completely different sports for sure, but same concept. Your defense plays off your offense. So like in football, if you get a turnover on defense, like an interception or a fumble recovery or something, and then your offense goes three and out, like your team looks bad regardless.
Yeah,
because you can't capitalize on those turnovers. So if they get a turnover or a big block, and then Westbrook comes and shoots a 10-footer and bricks it, like. Sorry, I get mad when I talk about Westbrook. So it's like yeah, you're right. They just don't look good together. No one's ever going to question Darvin Ham's defensive schemes and their toughness or anything like that. But offensively, what do you do?
Yeah.
Also, I don't know. We like I said in the previous podcast, every time a play happens, Anthony Davis is like, my neck, my back, my ankle, my knee, my pinky, my nose. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, he's a very fragile guy. If you're not willing to accept that, then you're kind of just you're a little bit naive because he's not going to play enough games to put himself in that consideration, more likely than not.
I'm really curious to see what this Laker team looks like after they all leave. Like what the players look like.
Yeah.
Like is Westbrook going to all of a sudden emerge as this second, career resurgence when he leaves? Is Anthony Davis all of a sudden going to heal dramatically? Like, I'm curious to see like what happens with the players on this team because it's such a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Like it's such a dumpster fire. Like you can take a chance, but are you going to take a chance? Like, what happens after this year kind of thing is I'm really curious to see, but we got to get there first. We got to see how, I mean, it can't get any worse, can it?
I mean, they haven't won a game. I don't think it can get worse. I mean,
Like 20% from three, like that can't, they can't keep that up the whole season, right?
no. And a lot of people are pointing the finger at Westbrook, but it's also Patrick Beverly.
He's shooting like 10 a game.
He's shooting like 20% from the field and
Yeah.
like 18% from three. It's horrible. It's horrible. All around Lakers are trash. But yeah, that's that's how the cookie crumbles. But let's move on to some players who are dishing it out the best. Some players who are distributing, and these players are assist factories, but not just because they're good passers, but they're good playmakers. So important distinction there. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it off.
Do it.
Whenever I'm thinking of the best playmaker in the NBA, it feels weird to say this, but it's Nikola Jokic.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Not too weird.
No, I mean, I know you would get
Yeah,
it. You enjoy Nuggets basketball. There's a lot of people out there who are not as high on Jokic as we are.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Those are also people that don't have Tim Duncan in their top five. So
right. Yes, not all people can be blessed with the Tim Duncan intellect. But yeah, there's something when I'm watching Jokic play where he has that playmaking mindset where he not only knows how to make that pass, but he knows how to move into the position to make the pass. So if he's not there right now, he's going to put himself in the position to make the pass. He's going to pass people open. He's full court passing.
Yeah.
He's a good passer in the half court scheme
he
as
has
well.
good handles too.
Yes, he does. He does, and he's a really decisive playmaker too. He's not a guy that kind of gets lost within the offense. He creates the offense and he does it in a snap. So when I think of best playmakers, it's got to be Jokic. Even though it feels weird saying that because I think we're in this realm of where people aren't playmaking like they used to,
Right.
and it's more about I'm creating the offense for myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And but with also him too is he has also a lot of like hockey assists. So it's like the assist to the assist.
Yes.
And that's what, kind of stands out because obviously those stats aren't taken. But with him, it's just like, man, like he sees the court so well. Like I would love to like be in his head for a play or two just to see what he sees and how he sees it. Because, we've all been there. Like you're dribbling down, and you're like, you see someone in the peripheral and you're like, I'm going to pass them open or leave it off for them for a three or whatever. Like that's great, but the way he sees it is like not the way that everyone else sees it.
Yeah.
So that would be he's one of my playmakers, by the way. So
Of course.
that makes sense. But I mean, and also some of the passes that he makes, interior, perimeter doesn't matter, and then he's also keen enough to, I can shoot it here, or this is not a good shot. Like it's high basketball IQ, understanding everything, and also he's so humble too.
Yeah.
He still like goes back home and like works on the farm. Like how can you not like the guy?
Yeah, it's tough to hate on him right there. Absolutely. So yeah, we both have Jokic as one of our best playmakers in the NBA right now.
Yep.
Obviously, he's contributing to so much offense.
Yep.
Another guy that I think I almost didn't put on this list was Chris Paul.
I was debating Chris Paul as well,
Yeah,
but it's Chris Paul.
it is.
It's Chris Paul.
It's Chris Paul. He's still over 10 assists a game. He's still very efficient. He has such little turnovers for how many minutes he's played throughout his career. There's something to be said about how he can still minimize his errors after all these years.
Yeah.
you know, and regardless of how we feel about him and how we've battled with his teams in the past, you got to give him so much credit for him as a playmaker and just creating offense. He's the point god for a reason. He's that prototype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's CP3.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have a TV or you haven't seen an NBA game, like, I mean, come on, like,
Yeah.
everyone has. Whoever's watched an NBA game in the past 10 years have seen Chris Paul in a State Farm commercial.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, it's Chris Paul, man. Like, Chris Paul, I don't think he's ever going to catch up John Stockton with assists.
No.
But the fact that he's even in the conversation at, I think he's number 2.
I think he's number 3, but
Number 3?
Regardless, I think he's still like over 3,000 assists away, which is
Yeah, I mean,
You're never getting there.
no. But like, I mean, his same thing. Like, I think playmaker goes along the same lines of just basketball IQ. Like, there's athletic basketball players that we've talked about in the past, but there's another thing to lose a step and a half or 2 steps and continue to play as well as Chris Paul has. Like, Chris Paul is almost like the Tom Brady of the NBA.
yeah.
Like, he's going to play until he's 42, 44. I mean, he's going to play for a long time, especially if the Suns keep him young like they have been. Then, you know, the sky's the limit for that franchise. I just don't know. I don't know where Chris Paul is overall, like, all time. But in this NBA, definitely top playmaker.
Yeah.
And when I say overall all time, it's honestly just because he just hasn't gotten over that hump and getting a ring.
Fair enough. Yeah,
So-
there's a lot to be said whenever you're a playmaker on a team that's achieving the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I mean, he's still dishing out that rock better than anybody else in the league, arguably. So it's,
Even some drug dealers on the street.
yeah,
Get it, dishing that.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I got you. Hey, boom. Yeah, but
Catch me on Fridays.
I'm here all week. But so we both have Jokic and CP3 in our top playmakers. Or did you not put him in your top?
I actually didn't put CP3.
Okay.
I had Damian Lillard. So
D-Lil.
yeah. So, but similar to what we've talked about in previous podcasts, dude is just. I mean, he's the whole thing. He can pass. He can shoot. He's so. Damn. He's all around just such a great player. Like, you know how you have like the circle in like 2K or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, his thing is like just the whole thing's like, what doesn't he do well?
Yeah.
So, you know, even in defense, like if you need a steal, you know, he at least get the lockdown. He might get the steal. You know, so he's definitely one of the top playmakers in the NBA still, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can't hate on that one bit. I mean, he sets other people up within the offense. He creates a lot of offense for himself. Dude's a bona fide playmaker through and through. When I'm thinking current playmakers, one of the guys that really stands out to me is he's got to be Luka.
Yeah.
Like he just will draw in the defense by just driving, decelerating, literally pausing, waiting for people to come to him, and then dish out.
Herky jerky, weird.
Dude, I mean, I honestly love players that decelerate. I've been a huge fan of deceleration for a long time. We saw a lot of guys like James Harden did it all the time. D Wade would do it from time to time, and even like a guy like Paul Pierce would like slow the game down and then would cause other people to play at their speed, and then they would kill because
Paul Pierce
of it.
was the best at it.
Yeah, Paul Pierce did it so well.
He did it so because he was never the fastest, never the strongest, never the tallest, but he was so. I mean, it's amazing he had such a long career.
Yeah,
It really is. So, you know, shout out to whoever found Paul Pierce. I know he played for, was it Kansas or no? He played for.
I can't remember, to be honest. I'm drawing a blank. Yeah.
Paul Pierce. Pretty sure he played in. And that's Paul George. Fuck. Yeah, he played at Kansas. I was right. I need to stop second guessing myself.
It's all good.
Yeah, so Paul Pierce played at Kansas, and you know, shout out to the scout whoever found him and saw the acceleration, deceleration, herky jerky, and then also his shooting is just super efficient. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
whenever he's not pooping himself on the court.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I'm a big fan of players that play in that style, and much like Paul Pierce, that's exactly what Luka does, and he like just draws people in so beautifully, and can hit shots from deep, is hitting shots from mid range, and that's what honestly helps his playmaking so much is he has those offensive abilities, so you can't not double him,
Right.
and then the pass is open, and so it helps his playmaking quite a bit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I love Luka. So
Absolutely. Well, yeah, those are all really insane playmakers. I think
honorable mention would be like Trey Young, but
I was just about to say Trey
but
Young.
Trey, but he's just not efficient enough for me,
Yeah.
and he's not necessarily a passer, which is why they traded for DeJounte. So I think over time, like I hope he continues to develop his game. So in the next 5-10 years, we don't see him just completely fall off the face of the earth because of just if you don't become more efficient, or if you don't figure out how to maybe drive a little more, or whatever the case may be, he can see a very steep drop off.
Yeah.
So that's why he wasn't in my top 3, but
Yeah.
he was definitely honorable mention.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely up there. I think, what I've seen from Tyrese Halliburton so far, dude is putting up over 25 a game, like 10 assists a game. And, he doesn't really have the dudes to distribute to in Indiana. But I also think that's to his advantage. People aren't going to be able to scout for them very well. And as long as he just keeps moving the ball and finding people open, he's gonna be one of those top guys as well. So there's some interesting options. But yeah, I think that's like pretty much all the good playmakers. We touched on a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, we still got Kyrie up there. Kyrie's obviously going to be a great playmaker.
Yeah.
Whenever he's not being a diva. So,
Yeah.
we also got Jalen Brunson, who's also, definitely starting to become a.
That's very true.
Jalen Brunson's like the player that I did not see becoming. I was like, man, he got overpaid. But now looking at the way he started the season, you're like, maybe he is that dude. So maybe he was just in the shadow of the Mavs for a long time, and also he was hurt, I think, for a little bit too.
Yeah.
So yeah, those guys. But also, it's really great to see John Wall back on the court. It's great to see a lot of these players back playing from injuries or whatever. So I think we're in for a really, really fun season. Curious to see kind of where this all ends up, and also at what game do the Lakers finally win?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure at the point in time when we're airing this, they've won already. But I mean, if they haven't won by the time this episode airs, holy shit!
You'd have to do a fire sale?
Oh my
gotta get rid of
gosh.
everybody.
You just got to get rid of everyone. I mean, there's no way that you're playing for right now anymore.
No.
Like, there's no way you can keep lying to yourself and say, like, hey, we're a playoff team. We're going to win out here in L.A. It's like, nah, you're not the Clippers.
Yeah. No, not even close.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously, Rob Pelinka has a lot to do with that, but I think Jeannie Buss is very much on the side of, we're paying Westbrook how much money? Oh, his ass is going to be on the court.
Yeah.
Like, whether they want to admit that or not, I really think that's kind of what it comes down to. So
Right. And she's a good businesswoman, but at the same time, I also think that she needs to be sort of responsible for this level of scrutiny.
Yeah.
She's not infallible with all of the decisions that have been made, because since 2020, there's been a steep snowball just down, and there's no up.
yeah, well, it's definitely a fine line between on the court success and business success.
Yeah.
Because regardless of what happens, the Lakers are still going to sell jerseys, still going to sell shirts, still going to sell tickets. They're going to go to every arena and sell out because they're the Lakers. My thing is, at what point does the entire Laker organization look at the bottom line and say, I know we're making money, I know we're selling merch, I know we're doing well, but the product on the court is god awful. At what point does that bubble burst, and when do they start making changes in order to get a better product on the court? I mean, you can probably keep LeBron, but I say AD's for sale, Westbrook's for sale, anyone's for sale. The problem is you don't have any future picks, and that's kind of been the trend lately in the NBA. So
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think a lot of jobs are safe. Darvin Ham, his job could be on the chopping block soon. Rob Pelinka, he could be axed sometime in the near future. I think there's a lot of questions that the organization is going to have to answer pretty soon.
I wonder when their breaking time is, though. I wonder, like, at 25 games, do they just go, this isn't working?
Oh, well, I mean, I think that they're already going to have to come to that conclusion now.
You would hope. But
Yeah.
you know how those people in La La Land are.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty good place to end it. I'm feeling pretty good about that episode.
Yeah. We can end it on us just poo-pooing on the Lakers. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
That's my positive note.
let's let's do it. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's not one problem, there's 5 problems
Yeah.
with them. So it's a situation where I think they're going to have to address them sort of one by one and figure out when they're going to really dive on into these problems, because they're not going to be good after, firing a new coach and getting a new one.
Yeah,
That's not
no,
going to change
they're not
anything.
gonna change anything,
They're not
no.
going to instantly be good trading Westbrook, and then they're not going to instantly be better doing one of these things.
Right.
So it's we're watching the Lakers flail a little bit, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Neither do I.
Neither do I. But
Who would have thunk we were sitting here going, the Spurs are better than the Lakers? Like, if you would have told us that when we first started this podcast over the summer, I would have been like, you're full of it.
yeah, I would have been like, "What the hell are you smoking? And can you pass it to me?" But that being said, that's another great episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. Once again, I am Rob, aka B-Ball Archives, and we need to give a shout out to our sponsor before we sign out on here.
Yep.
We've been having a lot of different Turning Point brew beverages lately, and this one is called Highlight the Lowlights, and it's a very delicious beer. AJ, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, it's a German black lager, so it may look dark, but it's very tasty. I really enjoy Turning Point very much. Shout out to JP for hooking us up with this. Again, as always, follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and any social media site you can find them. They're always posting events. They have weekly, it's not bingo, it's Mingo, because it's from Minnesota.
Mingo.
Sure.
There you go, Mingo.
Sounds like a stripper, but whatever.
Okay.
And then they also have trivia nights and all kinds of events and things that happen throughout the weekend as well. So they also have a really cool, it's called the Relic Room, and you can rent that out for your holiday parties. You can rent that out for any kind of occasions. We can rent it out to do a live podcast
Ooh.
whenever we get some more traction in the DFW area. So, just some things to check out, but definitely check out Turning Point whenever you get a chance. And as always, we are the backbone of the podcast, and Adam is just a guest.
Yes, Adam is not here, so it is technically 2 bums are better than 3 right now. So and I think that's a great episode. And as always, it is
Go Spurs, go.
Oh yeah.